Every farm has a story. When it comes to dairy farming, these stories are often only heard by the animals raised, the land stewarded, and the family that makes it all possible. Join me, Dairy Gal Val, as I interview individuals from across the dairy industry, both within the United States and across the globe, discussing topics like farm management, the food industry, ag business and technology, and most importantly, their farm story. This is the Dairy Hour Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Dairy Hour Podcast. I am your host, Dairy Gal Val, or Val Lavigne, as I'm known in normal life. I am joined today by not one guest, but three really great, outstanding young dairy professionals. So they are the outgoing roster of New York State Dairy Ambassadors. I am joined by Arianna, Aman, Eliza, Schoeberl, and Isabella, Esposito. Ladies, how are you all today?
Good, thank you.
Good. I'm so happy that you were all able to hop on all at the same time and basically go back over. You all just spent a year at the state level promoting the dairy industry for dairy farmers and helping to spread the word about dairy to those that are not directly involved in the dairy industry, which is a really great task. It's something that I hold near and dear to my heart, with being someone who enjoys educating people about dairy myself. And I also went through this program as a young lady. Unfortunately, those days are past, but I still enjoy those memories, and I love looking back on the experiences that I had. So I'm really excited to chat with you ladies today. And I believe that your reign just came to an end yesterday. So timing is everything, and we've got the full experience at our hands to deal with. So I'm going to start with just a brief introduction from each of you. Arianna, if you want to go first and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Arianna Aman. I was the New York State Dairy Ambassador in 2023 to 2024. I originally grew up in Tioga County, and I just graduated school a couple winters ago. So I've been pursuing dairy and law ever since then, and this program was an absolute wonder to get to do all that.
Excellent. Eliza?
Hi, I'm Eliza Schoeberl. I served as the 2023 to 2024 New York State First Associate Dairy Ambassador. I'm originally from Otsego County, and I'm a senior in high school at the moment. And this program was honestly a dream come true, and it was amazing to be able to promote at the state level.
That's awesome. How about you, Isabella?
Hi, I'm Isabella Esposito. I served as the 2023-2024 New York State Second Associate Dairy Ambassador. I am from Onondaga County, and I'm a senior in high school this year with plans to pursue ag business. This year was actually just overall overwhelming, but in such a good way, and I felt so blessed all year.
Awesome. I'm really excited that you all have such great things to say about your year spent as a New York State Dairy Ambassador. So I guess we will jump right in and talk about why, what motivated you to become a dairy ambassador at the county level, and then eventually pursue having a state position. So Isabella, let's start with you. What was your driving force behind why you wanted to do this so badly?
So I became a part of the Onondaga County Dairy Promotions team in, can't remember the year right now, but I was around 7.5 years old, and I looked up to all of the older girls and was super excited for the time that I was able to run for our county ambassador. At the time, that was Princess, but then it turned to ambassador, and I was still so excited just to represent the dairy farmers of Onondaga County. And that led me to eventually run for state, where I was so excited to represent the New York State farmers.
Awesome. Eliza?
My cousin was actually part of the Otsego County Dairy Promotion Program when I was growing up. And so about 4 or 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to join the Otsego County promotion team, and I just had such a good relationship with all the girls on my own team, so that when I was able to be the head of that, I was super passionate about promoting and carrying on what they had already done to make the program in Otsego County so strong. And then I made the decision to run for state so I could continue to represent farmers of New York on a greater level than I had already been doing.
Awesome. How about you, Arianna?
Just like Bella and Eliza, it was very much like getting to see people in my county doing it. My aunt did it when it was her time to do it. Not gonna name dates. But
No ages here.
growing up, my older sister did it, so watching her do it. But after I went to college, it was a big realization that there's a bunch of people who don't understand the dairy industry and didn't even realize like how hard dairy farmers work. So that's really why I wanted to get into the state level of things so I can travel around and kind of communicate with consumers.
Awesome. So I guess let's start with some highlights from your past year. Talk about some of those things that are really standing out for experiences that you'll never forget from the past year. So Eliza, let's start with you.
So I had the opportunity to do 2 Fuel Up to Play 60 events at both Highmark Stadium in Buffalo and at MetLife Stadium, I believe, where the Giants
Those
are. Yeah.
are really great opportunities. That is so cool.
And it was actually so because I come from a very rural area, so like I obviously have grown up around like farms and stuff like that. But it was so interesting to see these kids who maybe haven't grown up around the dairy industry as much, to see them like light up when we're talking about like things on the farm like that. And just like that moment of realization when they see all these cool things that are happening just like a couple hours away from them, and to have so much fun. And like we met so many professionals that day, and it was just so fun to be able to communicate with both people in and outside of the dairy industry.
Awesome. Could you explain a little bit more about what happens at one of those events as far as like what your role was and the different things that the kids are doing at that event?
So basically, at the 2 events that I was at, there sorry about that. There was a little bit of issues with like the smoke from the wildfires, so I had to be like condensed a little bit and changed a little bit. But basically, there was activities for the kids to do with like an NFL player in this situation. And then me and Arianna at the one, we were like, what was it called? The farm show and tell or something like that.
Yep.
And we had like different things on the from the farm, and we just showed them what it was, and some of them guessed on like how it worked and what it was. And then we did get a chance to go out on the field and do some activities on the field. So it was just like a day of like talking about dairy nutrition and farm, like things that happen on a farm, and also physical activity.
Awesome. And that is just being able to be in those stadiums and even be out down on the field is a really neat experience that a lot of people don't get to have. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
So Arianna, what are some of your standout experiences from this past year?
Definitely getting to do the social media mentorship. I was paired with somebody who was absolutely amazing. She actually was is an attorney, and she really helped me along that way, as well as helping me with the social media side of being a dairy ambassador, because as Eliza and Isabella like to say, I'm old and I don't understand how social media works. So that was great. Also,
If you're old, what does that make me? Let's be realistic here. Come on now. Don't even answer honestly, because I don't want to hear it.
But also getting to do the internship where I got to work on website design and everything, getting to like work with people in Adane and learn from people who had so much more experience. That was something that I really loved about the program.
So you did an internship this past summer with American Dairy Association Northeast.
Yeah.
So, you know, do you want to talk a little bit more about that? So you worked on doing some of the webpage design, etc.
Yeah, so I worked on going through the website and seeing anything that we were lacking or things that could have been retouched up from being outdated, or just some things that probably wouldn't work for kids anymore. And I got to communicate with other states as well and kind of pool all of our resources and kind of reboot the resources for both schools and promoters and just people who wanted to learn more about the dairy industry through that.
Awesome. That's a really great experience. I know that working out at the office at American Dairy Association as a dairy ambassador is a really great experience, and it helps you get to know the team better there. And there are some fantastic people that work there. Two of them were actually on a prior episode together, Emma Swarthout and Kelsey O'Shea, both really great, outstanding dairy promoters here in the Northeast. So that's a really great experience that you'll definitely carry with you through the rest of your life. Isabella, how about you?
So one of my favorite events this year was more of a simple one, I would say. I really enjoyed working at the milk bar this year. That was new to our state fair like agenda. And it was really exciting because you don't realize how many people have so many questions. And when there's a new face up there who is ready to promote dairy and ready to have those conversations, it can make it more open to those conversations starting, even though it's just the milk bar. Like, yes, they're coming to you just to get a glass of milk, but yes, of course, I'm going to answer all of your questions about where they come from or where the milk comes from and how it is produced.
That's awesome. The milk bar is a huge thing at the New York State Fair, and it's amazing the amount of people that go through that line and get milk. And it does make you feel good, especially as a dairy farmer, to see all of these people out at the state fair getting their glasses of milk and, enjoying their time learning about New York State agriculture. So really, really great. So, there's always, obviously it's easy to, see the highlights of your past year and those exciting things. So I guess more, what was a challenge that you were faced with while you were serving as a New York State Dairy Ambassador this past year? Maybe how did you overcome it? Maybe some details about that. So Arianna, let's start with you.
A lot of it was just kind of trying to figure out time management, like getting this to work with everything else in all of our crazy lives. I know the other two, they're crazy into sports and they work and they do more than me. And I have a full-time job, but that was probably one of the biggest challenges, was finding time to get out there and make it work and connect with everyone on the same page at the same time.
That is a very important skill to learn throughout life, because as people do, they go through time and they're like, oh, it's going to get better after this. It's going to slow down. And guess what? I'm here to tell you, it doesn't slow down. You find other things to fill that time, and you have new ventures and different things. Time does not slow down. I'm pretty sure it goes faster. So keep that in mind. There's your tip from experience. So Isabella, what are some of the challenges that you faced this year?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I have is like a guilt of not speaking with enough consumers. Like, it feels like you just want to always talk to more consumers and you want to get out there more, which also goes along with the time management because you have to find time to get out and talk to all the consumers. And we did have a lot of time to do that this year, but it also seems like did I talk to enough consumers?
I can assure you, you did a great job. All three of you did a fantastic job that I've noticed. So I'm very excited and thankful as a New York State dairy farmer to have you ladies at the helm for the year and doing such a fantastic job. So while it might have been a challenge in your eyes, I think you did a fantastic job. So you can let that one go. So Eliza, how about you?
Yeah, it was definitely about finding the balance for me because I started my reign for the state as a junior in high school, which people will say is the hardest year of your school. So and it was like for example, for the 2 touchdown events, I missed 2 days of my finals week for that. And it was finding the balance between like getting my social media posts done, getting out to consumers, and also while also balancing like a normal teenage life and like normal school. And like my school was very much like compensative of me missing a few extra days and making sure like I got my schoolwork in on time. But it was just like finding that balance between like working for a Dane and like the New York State Dairy Ambassador team while also maintaining like my school and social life.
Yeah. Again, balance, time management, all of that is so important. And it's a great thing to learn at the age that you ladies are, because it just comes in handy throughout life. Like you'll constantly be going back to finding that balance, how to manage your time, how to be the most productive in the time that you have. That is always super important. And especially when go through life and maybe have a family, have full-time jobs, balancing is always very, very important. So my next question is, how do you think that your efforts have contributed to raising awareness about the importance of the dairy industry in New York State? So you can do this through example or just kind of talking about it. Let's see, Isabella, let's start with you.
Can you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
Of course. So like, how do you think that your efforts have contributed to making people aware of, New York State dairy industry and how important it is?
Okay, I think that any consumer that we are able to speak to anytime we are out in public or even over social media, anybody who comments on our stuff, I think we are filling that gap between the consumer and the New York State dairy farmers, and any educating that we can do, any of the basics, any of the questions they have that we can answer, any of that helps to close that gap and maintain educated consumers.
Awesome. Eliza?
I think that people are like honestly so eager to learn about this industry, even if they don't come from like an area where it is prominent, like they still want to know all about it. So like just by talking to these people, like Bella said, like bridging the gap, like people are like, oh wow, I didn't realize that before. Like, oh, that's really cool. Like I never realized A, B, and C
Mhm.
about the dairy industry. And it just helps to like create that connection, and like people are like they want, once they learn a little bit, like this is an amazing industry, like they want to know more, and then they're gonna follow us on social media and like see other stuff we're doing and be like, wow, this really is just an amazing industry.
Awesome. Arianna?
I agree. Talking and bridging that gap is super important, but I think we all, like, throughout our time, even outside of the dairy program, like we got to talk to people and people would be like, where are you going tomorrow? Dairy ambassador, what's that? And it kind of created that connection, whether we were working officially under the dairy ambassador title or not. And it make people more curious, even if they didn't know about the title or they didn't know anything about the dairy industry. I think just having the dairy ambassadors go out and meet people is incredibly important, and it helps provide knowledge and education to those who are curious.
Awesome. So let's change gears to, what is one memorable interaction with a consumer or with a dairy farmer that you've had over the past year that just left a lasting impression? It could be funny, it could be inspirational, just something that's going to stick with you, like a specific interaction from the past year. Eliza, let's start with you.
So I think that probably my favorite interaction I had, like all like thinking back, like this is probably like one of the cutest interactions I've ever had in my entire life. So I was at the milk bar and I was pouring milk for like these people, and this little girl, these little twins girls came up to me and they're like, what, they're like, why are you up there? And I told them, I was like, oh, I'm a New York State dairy ambassador and I'm just like here to promote milk to you guys and like the importance of dairy. And they looked at me like huge wide eyes and they're like, I want to be just like you when I grow up. And so their mom was right behind them, and I was like, "Oh, so, like, where you guys come from, if you're comfortable, like, telling me." And she
Mhm.
told me that they're from, like, 10 minutes away from the city, and they had come up for the fair, and so, like, it was really inspiring to see these 2 little girls look up to this industry that they have probably, like, have not heard a lot about, because the mom is like, "Yeah, there's no farms around us," and to just be
Mhm.
like, that's, like, I struck that, like, little passion just by, like, pouring their milk for them and telling them what my title was, and it was just really cute too.
That's awesome. And it's so important, because not only are you out there promoting the dairy industry, promoting New York State dairy farmers and educating the consumers about dairy, you're also out there as a role model and someone that even future dairy ambassadors are looking up to. So that is really important and something to keep in mind, even as you go through life now, like just remembering that there's always, whether you know it or not, there's always someone that looks up to you, someone that gains, just they gain inspiration from you, and, they maybe want to be just like you when they grow up. So that is really important. And that is such a sweet story, because it's true. And some of these people or kids don't have those positive role models in their life. So when you get the opportunity to be that role model, it is so important. So, Arianna, what is your memorable experience?
Probably from like one of my very first events. I went to a school to celebrate National School Breakfast Week, and it was just so amazing to see all of these like young kids just so excited to get like a cup of yogurt or milk and just enjoy dairy as their breakfast. It was amazing to see all of them and see all of the farmers and the people from the industry gather together to kind of celebrate the importance of school breakfast and how much kids actually enjoy it.
Awesome. And Isabella?
I would say one of my favorite interactions was after our interviews on Dairy Day. I had some teachers come up to me at school, like when we had gone back. They were still thinking about it, even after a week. And they were like asking more questions. And I was so excited to how that one interview that they saw on the news, for some reason, they were awake at 5 a.m. watching the news during summer. But it opened those conversations to talk more about the dairy industry and what we do as ambassadors to promote the dairy industry.
Awesome. So I guess looking ahead, what are your aspirations or goals to continue to promote the dairy industry? In general and in New York, I guess you could say. Arianna, let's start with you.
In my personal life, I'm very excited to continue to promote, and also in my work life, I plan to go to law school to learn more about business and tax law in a hopes to kind of help farmers with the business aspect of their farms. Speaking from at least my family's experience, that's something my family very much struggled with while working on the farm, because they were passionate about the cow side and not the more legal side of things. So I'm hopeful to kind of help the industry in that sort of way.
Yeah, unfortunately, as a farmer, it's hard to be able to master all of the different skills needed to, do everything, whether it be just from the paperwork to the cow side, to the crop side, to the any other side. So making sure that you have that well-rounded background is really important. So I can definitely see how that would be very helpful going forward. Isabella, what does your future look like?
So I hope to focus on ag business during college, and um, I am definitely more of a numbers person. I love the business behind, or specifically the numbers behind how a farm is ran, or something like auction numbers, like how that is put into the system and calculated, and how those market reports are ran. I am very interested in things like that. And I guess overall, um, still advocating for dairy farmers wherever I end up.
Good, good, good. And Eliza?
I think no matter what I end up doing in life, like no matter what, I'm gonna be a dairy ambassador through and through. Like I love having conversations with people who don't know as much or people who do know as much and even know more than me, so that I'm also gaining information. So I think that no matter where I go in life, I mean, I am intending to pursue a degree in law one day, but obviously that's down the road. So I'm if change occurs, I'm not going to be upset about it, and I'm going to roll with whatever life gives me. But in general, I know that I'm going to apply the dairy industry and my passion for it to my life always, no matter what I end up doing.
Awesome. Yeah, just always continue to advocate and continue to, make sure that you bridge the gap, because you have all been lucky. And if I recall correctly, I don't know if any of you even actually grew up on a farm. Did any of you actually grow up on a farm? Oh, Arianna, you did grow up on a farm. Because I knew Isabella didn't. And, just continuing whether or not you go into active farming or not, just ensuring that you keep that connection with the dairy industry and continue to help educate those that don't know anything about the dairy industry is very important. And I do hope that it's something that sticks with you through your life, because we definitely need more young ladies like you to continue just educating about the dairy industry. So as I alluded to earlier in the episode, you three ladies ended your term last night or yesterday afternoon. This was not in the present questions, so I'm going to catch you a little off guard. Hopefully it's not too crazy. So what is one piece of advice, whether it be, from a promoting standpoint, from a personal standpoint, what is one piece of advice that you wish to impart with the new 2024 to 2025 New York State Dairy Ambassadors? I'll let you think on that for a quick second.
I'll start.
Oh, Isabella's going for it. She's ready.
This is so cliche, and I'm sure we're all thinking it, but this year has flown by. It was insane how fast it went by. And I think the most important part of being a dairy ambassador is not taking a single second for granted and remembering that you take every opportunity to advocate for the hardworking farmers that you can, and any person that you are able to reach is another consumer that's being educated.
Awesome. I love it. Eliza?
I'd say definitely take it all in, because I truly cannot think back to a moment where I was like, man, I wish this year was over, because it never happened. I know that last night on stage, me, Arianna, and Bella were all like, man, it's over, and I wish it wasn't.
Yeah, it was crazy. We all
really
had that
was.
moment. We all looked at each other and we were
And
like,
we're like, it's
wow,
over.
we're done. That's crazy.
Yeah, it does. It
Like,
starts quick and then it goes by even quicker. I agree.
The connections I made this year, even with Bella and Arianna, if you see, we're all wearing little silver pendants.
Oh,
We all have matching necklaces that Arianna got us. And it just shows how close knit your team is. They are honestly two of my best friends, and I hope that next year's group also gets to experience the amazing friendships that I got to experience this year.
oh, that's amazing. I love that. And Ariana's tearing up a little.
Is she crying?
The emotions are raw here this
100%.
morning. And it's funny because I do remember just those raw emotions of everything, so well. And it was long enough ago for me. Again, we're just going to keep on feeling old today. But yeah, I definitely feel that. Arianna, are you composed enough to answer?
I probably will never be composed enough, but honestly, have fun through the year. This isn't supposed to be the most stressful event of your life. This is supposed to be a fun year, but also I'd say even more importantly than that, be yourself, because that's really what consumers want to see. They want to see a real person who is genuinely in love with this amazing industry. That is probably how some of the best interactions I've ever had was just me being myself and then being like, wait, can you talk about that a little bit more? And that's just, I feel how a lot of really great connections can be made.
Agreed. Just being genuine and authentic is so important. And that's important in life, not just as a dairy ambassador or promoting the dairy industry. People find that they can connect better with you when you're more authentic and more yourself, because nobody likes a fake, right? So that was really, really nice, girls. It was an absolute pleasure to watch each of you grow and flourish throughout the year, because anyone that has, watched a program such as the New York State Dairy Ambassador Program. I had Alice in Dairyland on the podcast a few episodes ago. Just any position like that, it is fantastic as just an outside person in agriculture to watch how much people change throughout the year and how much they grow and find themselves. And I think the importance of programs like this are not only as a promotional perk and just helping educate everyone about the dairy industry and the good that milk and dairy can do for you and your family, but it is also a program filled with growth, personal growth, and growth of your circle and your friends, as you three obviously have really grown very close this year, which is wonderful to see. It, those friendships will last a lifetime. Those people are there for you, and that is so important. So anyone listening to this, if you have the opportunity to do a program, such as the New York State Dairy Ambassador Program, or just any other development program or group program, take those opportunities. You'll figure out how to manage the time and find that balance. But I just encourage each and every one of you to find something in life that you can do to make yourself one step better as a person. And those are so important to keep finding throughout your life. Like you ladies started with this program, but I encourage you to keep on opening your eyes to different opportunities, trying new things, and always just keep learning, just keep striving for that little bit better. And you'd be amazed at the different doors that will open for you and the different opportunities that will arise. So that is my words of wisdom. Lately, we've been having the guests give wisdom, but today I decided I was going to impart my wisdom upon you three. So hopefully you take it, and hopefully you think back and you're like, man, Val was right. That's what we're hoping for. If not, you'll be like, to heck with her. So that's fine too. So I don't know if one of you ladies want to share. None of you have like a public following page, but if one of you ladies wants to take the opportunity to share where people can follow the New York State Dairy Ambassador Program, and they can look back on all of the great content that you three created, as well as the content coming up that the new dairy ambassadors have created. So who wants to, whichever one of you wants to share those handles. Arianna?
So you can definitely check out the AmericanDairy.com page. They'll have information about the program as a whole, as well as different states have different programs. So checking that out will give you more information about that, as well as farming and the practices that ADAIN does to help farmers. But we ran the New York State Dairy Ambassador page on Facebook and Instagram. So just typing in NYS Dairy Ambassador. And you'll find all of what we did last year, as well as what the next group will do going forward.
And that's on Instagram and Facebook as well, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys have any other platforms, or just those two?
Just those two.
Just those two. Awesome. So I encourage everyone that's listening to go ahead and support the New York State Dairy Ambassador Program, give their pages a follow, and be sure to engage in that content. If you're not familiar with the dairy industry, you can also reach out to those pages with questions, and you can obviously always reach out to me as well. And I'd love to answer any questions that you have about the program or about the dairy industry. Do you ladies have any parting words?
I don't think so.
They're all just like overwhelmed and just tired from yesterday, I'm sure. So I want to take this opportunity to wish all three of you luck in your future endeavors. I am always here if anyone needs anything to reach out. And I am very appreciative of you ladies taking the time out of your Sunday before you head. I know two of you will be headed back to school tomorrow, and I think one of you will be headed back to a job tomorrow. So thank you so much for taking your day out of rest, and we will see you all next week. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to be notified of future episodes and leave a review. You can find me on most social media platforms at Dairy Gal Val, or online at dairygalval.com. Thank you so much for coming to the Dairy Hour.